So in this session, we are going to talk about input-output in Java. Let's say you have to write a program to take string as input from the user and print the string as output. So if you are writing program in Java, you obviously have to take an input and you have to print some output. So here there are two things. We have to know how to take input from the user. So for that, let's discuss how do user generally gives their input. So generally when we are writing the program, we take input from the user via a keyboard. And the user prints the output via a console. The output is printed on the console. So here we have to know that how to take this input from the keyboard and use in the program and how to print the output to the console. And we also have to ensure that we are identifying that input as string and printing the strings as output. So we have to take input from the keyboard, we have to identify that it is a string, or we have to convert depending upon the type we are using. So this is what we are going to see here, that how the input comes from the user and what are the various ways using which we can take input from the user in our program and how do we print output in a Java program. So in order to understand that, we need to understand what are streams. So Java program performs I/O, input output, through streams. If you have to visualize streams, streams are nothing but a flow of data you can either read from or write to. So this is just a flow of data. So this is the data source. So generally when we are writing a program, we take input from the user, we are considering data source as the keyboard. But it could be any file, it could be any network socket. So depending upon from where the input is coming, the input comes as a sequence of data which is known as stream. So this is the data source. The data is flowing part to this program in a particular fashion, in a sequence, and this sequence is known as stream. So we have to know that how to handle these streams and how to use these streams in a particular program. We will see that. So whenever we have data coming into the program, that is known as input stream, and when we have a program and we are putting in some data outside the program, or let's say we are printing some data, then that is known as output stream. So let's see further. Streams could be of two types, byte stream and character stream. So we will understand streams even more when we talk about this. So let's talk about byte streams and character streams. So byte streams provides a convenient means for handling input and output of bytes. Byte streams are used, for example, when reading or writing binary data. So we saw in the previous slide that the flow is happening in terms of bytes only. So obviously computers interact in binary data only. So what is happening is in byte streams and what is happening in character streams. So first we have read about byte stream. Let's note down the important point. Byte stream provide convenient means for handling input and output of bytes. Now let's talk about character streams and then we'll see the difference. Character stream provides a convenient means for handling input and output of characters. So what happens in case of byte stream and character stream? So let's say we have a sequence of data. So obviously the data will be in binary form. There won't be any difference there. It is not the case that in case of character stream, the data is flowing in terms of, let's say, ABCD or something like that. That is not the case. In both the cases, it's flowing in binary form only. So the difference is when we have a byte stream, when we are using byte stream in our program to read the data, then 1 byte of the data is read at a time. So if let's say we have 16 bits of data, which is obviously 2 byte. So let's say I want that I have a text file, let's say I have a text file, or the user has input some string or some characters. What happens in case of byte stream is that only 8 bit is read at a time. So the 2 byte of character, if the user inputs, let's say, a character which is the binary representation of which is, let's say, something like this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So how the byte stream will perform? The byte stream will first read this and then this. So obviously the character has to be read in 2 bytes. So if you have to read character or if you have to read text files or something like that, then byte stream won't help. It is generally helping if you have to read or write binary data, which means you can read 1 byte at a time. But character streams, in case of character streams, we can read 2 bytes at a time. So it is convenient for handling input and output of characters. In byte stream, how the byte streams are implemented. So byte stream is a concept that has to be implemented using class so that we can use that in our program, right? So it is implemented using, or better to say defined using, two abstract classes, input stream and output stream. So these are two abstract classes that are implemented by lots of concrete classes. We are not going to get into all these classes because right now the focus is to understand how to take input from the console and how to print the output. So as the name suggests, input stream is for taking the input and output stream is for printing the output. So we will see a bit more of input stream when we are talking about taking input from the user. Talking about character streams again are defined using reader and writer, which are two abstract classes. As the name suggests, reader is for reading the input and writer is for printing the output. These abstract classes handle Unicode character streams. So the characters can have several encoding. In this case, it uses Unicode. Now let's proceed further to see that how we can use these things to get input from the user. To understand how to get input from the user, we have to understand a very important class which is known as system class, also known as the predefined stream. So let's see what happens in system class. System class contains three predefined stream variables: in, out, and error. These fields are declared public, static, and final within system. Public and static means that these are the variables. So you can think of system class and we have variable in, out, and error. So if this variable in, out, and error are public, static, and not final is another thing. If they are public and static, then I can simply access them using system.in in our program that we write, or for that matter system.out, system.err. But now the question is, these are variables, right? These are object variables. So they have to have some class because object variables refer to a particular class only. We will see that whom they are referring to. So as the name suggests, system.out refers to standard output stream. By default, this is the console. So whenever we use system.out, we generally use system.out in our program to print to the standard output stream. And the standard output stream for our code is the console. So if you print system.out, if you print anything using system.out, by default it is printed in the console. System.in refers to the standard input, which is by default the keyboard. So again, we will see how to use these all in our code. So if you are using system.in, take input from the user, by default it is taking input device as the keyboard. So whatever is given in the keyboard, whatever user inputs in the keyboard is taken by the system.in. Last one is system.error, refers to standard error stream, which is also the console by default. So many times we use system.error to print the log or print the places where error could happen. In that case also the printing happens in the console. So let's know more about system.in, system.out, and system.err. We will be using both of these. We will see how to use both of these for input and output thing. First, coming back to the question that these three are the variables. Fine. These are the variables of what object type? Let's see that. System.in is an object of type input stream. So in is an object of type input stream, and both of these are object of type print stream. So print stream, as I said, that output stream was the abstract class. There are lots of implementation of that class. Concrete classes are there. So print stream is one of those. Now we have lots of information. We know that input and output come and go through streams. We have a predefined stream class which takes care of this stream, and we can use this in our program to take these strings, to deal with these streams. Now let's see how do we get input in our code. So we have two ways using which we can read input from the user. One is buffered reader, which is here, and another is scanner. We will first see what is the way of taking input from the user using buffered reader, and then we will see for scanner, and then we will try and see what are the differences between the two. So if you have to write a code to take input from the user using buffered reader, this is the very first thing that you have to do. Now let's try to understand what is this happening. So this buffered reader belongs to character stream. So this is of type character stream. So buffered reader takes input in the form of character stream. Okay, this is one thing. I'm just giving the information and then we will club it. Now here using system.in, we are taking input in the form of byte stream. So this buffered reader accepts character stream, but here using system.in, we are taking the input as byte stream. Now this character stream has to be converted, byte stream has to be converted to character stream. So this input stream reader does the task of converting byte stream to character stream. So I'll repeat, what we do is we take input from the user using system.in, which is again a byte stream. Now this byte stream has to be converted to character stream, which is done by the constructor of new input stream reader. So this particular part does the task of converting byte stream to character stream. So now this character stream is read by this buffered reader. So right now we just have the object of buffered reader. This BR is the object. Now, okay, so this BR is the object that is ready to read whatever input the user gives. So if the user has to read a line, we simply write br.readLine. So let's say the user writes something like prep bytes is cool. And if we use system.out.println to print whatever user has given, you get this particular as output. So in using BR, you can either read the entire line or you can read just one character using br.read. So if you do something like br.read, it reads just one character. So let's say it does character ch is equal to br.read. So if you put c, that goes into ch. So like this, using br.read, you can get the individual characters, and for the complete strings, you have to use br.readLine. So whatever user input, so if we even input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at this particular place, there will be semicolon. So this complete line goes to read. So again I'm repeating, using BR, whatever the user gives is taken as a character. Using buffered reader, we can read the entire line or a character. Buffered reader does nothing but just reads all the character that the user prints. Now let's talk about scanner, how we can use scanner to take the input, and then we will see that how and when to use both of them.